Okay, so this one looks very similar to the one we just did in the warm-up. What's the difference on this one, Lily? There's variables on both 9 and the 5. Who remembers what to do when I have that? This is back from the previous topic. Cassie?
You combine them, so you put them together.
You put them together. So if they are on the same side of the line, which is one reason I like to draw the line, if they're on the same side, you can just put them together. You only do the opposite when you're crossing over that line. So what I'm going to do here is just take 9x, take away 5x, which would be 4x. And this is called combining like terms. Okay? And then now when we get to here, this is a basic one-step equation. So we're just going to divide both sides by 4. That does not switch my inequality symbol because I divided by a positive. So this is x, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay? This did ask me to solve and graph because I want to keep doing the graphing because I'm noticing a lot of people are really struggling with the graphing. Okay, when we draw our own graph, I require at least 3 numbers, at least 3, but you can put as many as you want. So if I were doing this, I would start with 5. I would, imagine that I just have a window and I can only see this small section of graph. That's totally legal if you want to do it that way. Open circle or closed circle? Closed. Good, because that means it includes 5. Okay, now I'm still having people struggle with this. So remember, this hungry guy is greedy. So if he is turning away 5 starbursts, how many does he want? He wants more. So that would be 6, 7, 8, 9, because he is greedy. He wants more. So that means you're going to shade this direction because he wants all the bigger ones. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, who remembers what we do here? Think. What property is that? Good, distributive property. So we're going to distribute to both terms, right? So not just the 4, but also the 6. All right, so I'm still going to draw my line. I'm going to take 2 times 4y, which would give me 8y. I'm going to keep this subtraction. If you want to change this one to same change, it won't change anything in the problem, but you can do that. And then 2 times 6 is 12. That is still greater than 12. And now this is exactly what we worked on yesterday. Now it's just a basic 2-stepper. Okay, so what do I do here? You add how much?
12.
Yeah, you're going to add 12. This should be pretty easy parcheesi for you by now. Parcheesi, yeah. And we do not switch to inequality sign because I'm dividing by a positive number. Y is greater than 3. Okay, so here is my solution. Now I'm going to come over and graph that solution. Remember I said at least 3 numbers, but you can put as many as you want. If I do like 3, how about I do 4 or 5 this time? The only thing you have to watch for, I saw a few people do this the other day, you have to count by something consistent. So you can't go like 3, 9, 11, because that would be weird, okay? But just make sure you count consistent. Open circle or closed circle? Open, good. All right, now remember, he's a greedy little guy. He doesn't want 3. He says, no, I want more than 3. So which way am I going to shade? Towards the 4 and the 5, because that's what he wants. He wants more than that. Okay, all right, let's keep going, unless you have a question. All right, next one. Okay, this is where they start to get a smidge harder, because you got a lot of negatives in there. You guys don't like negatives. All right, so we're going to draw a line. Because this is a -3 out front, I would probably go ahead and change that inner sign and do same change. I think it makes it a little bit easier on you. All right, so I'm going to keep the 18 here. Keep my less than sign. -3 times 4 is -12x, good. All right, I'm going to keep my plus sign, but this time I have a -3 times a -2. Positive 6. Good. And see, once you get to here, it's back to easy again. We're very good at solving two-step equations. All right, so we're going to start off by subtracting 6 aruis. So 18 minus 6 is going to give us 12, less than -12x. Next step here is to divide by -12. And what should be going off? Switchy. Good. Switchy. So we're going to divide both sides by that -12, which is going to switcheroo my sign. And now I have to look at both sides. So this side I have a positive divided by a negative, which is going to give me a -1 greater than, these are going to cancel, and I'm left with x. Usually we don't like this one because it's written backwards also, but that's okay. So you can write it like that, or you can switch it around, which reminds me, we forgot to check our homework, so we need to do that too. All right, so then let's go ahead and graph this one. Now, this one's a little bit harder to graph because you have to remember that negatives are counted backwards. So remember, when you're doing a number line, number lines go like this, but on this side, the numbers actually appear backwards. Okay, so when you put in your numbers, if you choose to go with -1 here, then what has to be over here? -2. And then we can put 0, and we can put 1 like that. So you just have to remember they go backwards. Open circle or closed circle? Open. Okay, now this is where I see most kids have trouble. Remember, he is greedy. So if he chooses that he wants the -1, what does he not want? Smaller numbers. So which ones are smaller? -3. Yes. So this route goes smaller. He doesn't want those. So it's going to go that direction. Okay. Questions on that one? Okay. Is the next slide, because I can't see it, is it my practice slide? Oh, I have error ones next. Okay. All right. Let's make sure you guys can find errors. All right, take a second and look at that one and see if you can find the error. Okay, so her question was, do you do this part first? And I said no. Does anybody know why that's a no? Kendall?
It's because we can do the problem first.
It's not only parentheses first, but it's multiplication first. Because there's nothing we can do inside the parentheses. Like I can't do that, but what I can do is distribute this -16. Does that make sense? So I have to start there. So this 12 has to stay here by itself. Now, this is a -16 times a z, which gives us the plus -16. And a negative times a negative is a positive 48. So everything to this line is fine. What would you do after this line? No. Don't you have like terms? Do you have like terms in that line? No. Liars. Yes, you do. Yeah. 12 and 48. Oh. All right. So add those two together. And if you add those two together, you would get a positive 60. So that's still okay. All right. Then what would I do from this step right here? No.
Add 60.
No.
No, add subtract.
No.
Subtract 60.
Subtract 60. Exactly, because you want that to go to 0. If you add 60 here, you get 120. Does that make sense? So that doesn't do us any good. So we're going to subtract 60, subtract 60. So this cancels out, what drops down? -16z. Now do you see a mistake? Okay, what is 21 take away 60?
Oh, it's not there.
It's nothing. Yeah, negative something, right? Probably -39. So there's our mistake, that it should be a -39. It is confusing. Okay, one thing that I do when I come across stuff like this, sometimes even when I look at your papers and I'm not seeing it, I push your paper away and I do it myself on another sheet, because then I can usually find the mistake. But sometimes when I'm staring at your work, I'm like, well, that looks right. So that is one strategy that's very helpful. Just go off here to the side and rework it. Okay? All right, let's look at one more trying to find the mistake. Maybe I should have started with this one because I think this one's a little bit simpler than that one. See if you can find the mistake here. Okay, so they did this part correct, right?
Yes.
Okay. And they brought this down. And then she's saying they should have subtracted 8.6. Okay. So they did that part. So then,
I didn't say
so 23.4 and 8.6, that means I would owe you all of that. Okay, so I'm getting negative 32. And then you divide both sides by 8.
Then I'm supposed to put the sign.
Oh, there it is. Tricky. They're not supposed to change the sign because you only change the sign when you do what? Divide by negative. I divided by a positive here, which means this should not have changed. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay? All right.